So it's a very ambivalent situation. And hence the curious phenomenon of this person, solitary person in a crowd of solitaries, right? We are all in solitude and in a crowd in the same time. That there are two essential values which are absolutely indispensable for a satisfactory, satisfying, rewarding, relatively happy life. One is security, the other is freedom. You can't be happy, you can't have a decent, dignified human life in the absence of one of them, right? Security without freedom is slavery. Freedom without security is complete chaos, inability to do anything, plan anything, even dream about anything. So you need both. The trouble, however, is that no one yet in history and on the planet found the golden formula, the perfect mixture of security and freedom. Each time you get more security, you surrender a bit of your freedom. There's no other way. Each time you get a bit more freedom, you surrender part of your security. So you gain something and you lose something. 70-odd years ago, Zygmunt Freud published this famous and tremendously profound and influential book called Civilization and Its Discontents. He said that civilization is always an exchange, a trade-off, as he put it, trade-off. You give something of one value in order to get something of the other value. And he said, he wrote it in 1920s, and at that time he said that our problem, their problem of the old generation, was that they surrendered too much freedom for the sake of security. My deep conviction is that if Freud was giving this interview of me at the moment, he would probably repeat that every civilization is an exchange, a trade-off, but his diagnosis will be exactly opposite, that our troubles come today from the fact that we have surrendered too much of our security for the sake of more freedom. That's a dilemma. So my conclusions are twofold. One, we will never find the perfect solution of the dilemma between security and freedom. There always will be too much of one and too little of the other, right? And the second, that we will never stop looking for such a golden mean. That I don't believe that there is one way of being happy. There are many ways of being happy. There are two, in this little book about art of life, I wrote that there are two factors, independent factors, relatively independent factors, which shape up human life. One is fate. Fate is the short name for all things on which we have no influence, which happen to us, but they are not of our doing. That's fate. And the other is character. And character is a very individual thing. You can work on your character if you want. You can change it, you can improve it. It is under your control to a very great extent. The division of labor between fate and character is such that the fate sets the range of options which are realistic to you. On that you have no influence. If you were born 20 years earlier than you were, your range of options will be different. If you were born 20 years later, again it will be different. If you were born in this suburb, affluent suburb, you have one range of options. If you are born in a ghetto, it's completely different range of options. but there is always a range of options which is provided by fate. But the choices between these options are made by character. And because characters are very many and very different, you can't give one recipe for happiness. I know that there are counselors now who earn quite a lot of money by pretending that they have recipes for happiness. Don't believe them. They are, they are hoodwinking you. I would never dare to give such an advice. Well, I am not comparing myself with Socrates, but very many philosophers, contemporary philosophers, consider life of Socrates, his personality, which he constructed, as the most perfect, relatively perfect, which you can imagine. But what does it mean? Does it mean that if Socrates' kind of life, which he selected, is the perfect solution for Socrates anyway, does it mean that we all should imitate Socrates and try to be like him? No. The answer is on the contrary, because precisely Socrates considered a secret of his happiness in that he, on his own, by his own will, created the form of life which he lived. People who imitate somebody else's form of life, somebody else's model of happiness, are not like Socrates. On the contrary, they betray his recipe. They betray his recipe because his recipe precisely. Well, you can translate it in a simple term, saying that for every human being there is a perfect world made especially for him or for her.